Well, hello everyone. You kind of caught us by surprise.
There's a disclaimer that's coming up, Jenna. Remember? From Brian Jones. I mean, not Brian Jones.
What do you think about putting that in the show today?
Absolutely. I really like that. How did you come up with that?
I was just thinking about what's the best way to serve the guys today on the MD and Chef Team show.
Yeah, and I was thinking, what about adding something like this to one of the pillars, just to empower, to equip them?
Beautiful. Oh, and may I say, speaking of beautiful, you look exceptionally gorgeous today, my dear.
Thank you, Ben.
Oh my gosh, I just noticed. I think it's time for the MD and Chef Team show.
Yay! Let's go!
The content in this show is for informational purposes only. It is not intended for medical advice. It does not take the place of medical advice or treatment from a physician or health professional. Listeners and viewers should consult their own doctor or a qualified healthcare professional for specific health and wellness concerns and questions. And now, let's start the MD and Chef Team show.
Hello, welcome everyone to the MD and Chef Team show. I'm Michael, nutritional chef and brain health coach here at Doctoronamission, joined by my beautiful wife, Isabel.
Thank you. I love it when you say that.
Yeah, medical doctor and brain health expert. So great for you to be here today on the MD and Chef Team show.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us here today. So a few words you have for everybody today?
Just a couple of words. You know, I always have a few words.
Just to share, warm everybody up a little bit.
And this is a live show, so just so you know, you can send in questions and we will answer them just for you, okay?
Yeah, we love to be interactive. We're here for you.
Hey, you may be asking, why are we here? What is the MD and Chef Team show? Well, we want you to be wealthy. Yeah, I know the current definition of wealthy is money, right? Yes, we all need to have money because money is like oxygen. If you don't have it, guess what? You die. That's the bottom line. But what I really want you to understand is I want you to be wealthy according to the Middle English definition, way back then.
What's that?
Well, their definition of wealthy was so that you had well-being emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And that's what we're doing here, is helping you have that kind of wealthy. And we're talking about mental illness and what we're focusing on. And I just want you to understand that from the research and from our personal experience with me being a suicide survivor, what I've come to understand is that we don't have a mental illness issue. We've got a brain health issue. What does that mean? Well, we're focusing so much on the downstream event, which is anxiety, depression, suicide. How are we going to stop that? Yes, we definitely want to stop the downstream event, but we really need to be looking upstream and focusing on our brain health and helping all the contributors that affect our brain health. Here's a picture given to us by my mentor, Dr. Mark Hyman. Imagine mopping up the floor when the sink is overflowing instead of turning off the faucet. Turning off the faucet is the upstream. That's what we're focusing on here, so that you don't have the downstream event. That's like as clear as I can make it.
When you have an analogy like that, it just makes sense. You know, you can just keep on mopping it up and it's overflowing and okay.
And that's what we do in healthcare, is we're just mopping up the mess down below. And let's start turning off the faucet, learning how to turn off the faucet.
Yes, yes.
Hi, Dave. See you there. Hi, Ian. Thanks for joining us. Okay,
today,
yes. How are we going to serve the guys? It's my turn to say that. We've got our notes. Just so you know, we got notes. Because if we don't have notes, we will be pinging all over the place. Yo, Brian, thanks for joining us. So what are we going to talk about today?
The title of today's show is your brain on fire? Is your brain on fire?
Your brain on fire.
Because what we're going to talk about today is something called inflammation. Now, let's talk about the schedule for today. There you go. We're going to talk about, is your brain on fire? By the way, the question and answer is always open. You can send things through to us. We're going to get into, well, what is the fire? Why, and why does it matter? And then the biggies is, okay, now I get it. I understand this, but how do I extinguish the fire? You want to stick around for that. And of course, you want to hang around for today's big take home, because today's big take home is going to be the mixing bowl.
The mixing bowl.
What's that going to be?
Well, we know.
Well, we know.
But we're not going to tell you until the big take home.
You got to stick around. And then our relationship to the chat today is going to be about couples, and it's going to be tips for remaining in love, because we've been together for 43 years.
And we have a long way to go.
Long
still,
way
right,
to
Ben?
go. And yes,
Yeah.
of course. And I must say, I am more in love with you today than I've ever been, hon.
Because we've been through so much.
Through so much.
Oh my gosh, have we been through so much?
Well, we're going to share some tips about remaining in love on the relationship.
Remaining
chat
in
today.
love.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool how you can do this here?
Hey, come on now. Let me get down to business, will you?
Okay, I'll get serious.
The doctor messing around. Hey, is your brain on fire? And what this is all about is inflammation. You've probably heard this. I mean, it's such a catchphrase out there. Oh, inflammation. Oh, they're talking about inflammation this, inflammation that. But what I want to talk to you about is a term called chronic inflammation. If we may have the fire video. How does chronic inflammation affect your brain, that fire? So first, we need to understand, what is inflammation? Now, when we talk about fire, see, we want to break this down so we can all understand. When you hear the word inflammation, just think of fire. And how does a fire start? When a fire starts, it's usually just a spark. Something kind of gets it going. Then there's a little smolder. Maybe you see a little bit of puff of smoke or something, but there's not much happening, but it's just kind of there. And then it starts to get going a little bit, and you start to see some sparks, a little more heat starts coming off, a little bit more fire. And eventually, as it grows, it'll be boom. Now you got this big blaze. You got this big fire.
That's hard to control.
Yes, very hard to control. Now, in that process, the way this works is when that big boom is of the inflammation, generally that's when people go see the doctor.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe what's going on. It's happening to me. I got all this. And they get to this point where the inflammation now is just at a point where there's this big fire, this big boom in the body system's happening. I'm going to go see the doctor. And
she's going to make it all right.
Just like that.
No, that's not the way it works.
And so that type of inflammation, and what we're talking about there is chronic inflammation. This is inflammation that has developed over time,
right.
That's been there. For most people, listen, we're with ourselves 24/7. Now, one thing to understand is right now, the research shows that 85% of the world's adult population, that's people 18 and over, have chronic inflammation. They are walking around with inflammation going on right now. And what that means is a lot of times we'll just say, oh, it's no big deal. Maybe, I don't know, I got some stiffness, some soreness, or just I got a little bit of a headache thing going on. Today we talked to a gentleman that was having problems with headaches. Fortunately, he got to see the right type of healthcare, and they established the fact that he was pumping way too much caffeine into himself, drinking 20-some cups of coffee
26 cups of coffee.
And having sugar and all kinds of stuff, and had to get it under control, and all of a sudden now he doesn't have headaches. Well, that was inflammation. That was fire of the brain going on. But 85% of the world's population right now is walking around with inflammation, whether they understand it or not. So a lot of times...
And I just want to interject here
Yes.
that just to help with a deeper understanding. So the inflammation that we're seeing is heart attacks, strokes, obesity, type 2 diabetes, anxiety, depression, dementia, Alzheimer's. Those are all inflammation, chronic inflammation.
Yes, yes.
Just to give you diagnoses.
Yeah. And what happens a lot of times is when we're going through life and these things are happening to us, there's some aches, some pain, some things happening. Well, as we age, as we're talking to people 40 plus, we'll start to say, well, it's just old age. It's just what happens. Well, no, that's not true. We shouldn't be walking around in chronic inflammation. It's a warning sign. It's like in your car, that little red light going, a warning light going, bing, 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 when it comes up and there's something going on. Well,
don't do what I do. This is what I used to do when that light would go on. I would just not look at it and just turn up the music. And then the car would break down.
And all of a sudden, I'm like, I'd get in the car and go, hey, how long's this been going on?
Oh, I don't know. I just turned up the music. So don't do what I do.
So, yes, don't just turn up the music and ignore warning lights that are going on, because you're, like I said, you're with yourself 24/7. Something's happening, and that's a warning that we've got to look out for, because chronic inflammation, we're going to talk about that in a moment. What can that cause? Isabel gave you a few. But I just, from an MD point of view, I also want to add that inflammation is a good thing. Right?
Yes, inflammation is a good thing. And we're talking about this kind of inflammation, on, off. And it happens when we cut ourselves. That's inflammation. But the body sends in all the water, all the immune system, all the antibodies, everything to clean it up and repair it. And then you have no scar. That's quick inflammation.
Acute, right?
That's, acute inflammation. And then it goes away. It does the job. Chronic inflammation, we just don't even want to deal with it. We're like, but chronic inflammation is the problem.
Right. Yeah. What? Put my hand down.
No.
Oh, you're ready to take a little bit of a break because
You
it's
are.
about that time. Well, I was going to get in why should we care about chronic inflammation and brain health, but that's a good idea. We're just going to take a short break right now. However, please keep in mind that we would love to have you join us in the Healthy Brain Club at Doctoronamission.com. It would serve you so well. We'll be right back after these messages.
You're watching the exclusive sneak peek of NGBN TV. Like never before, streaming content for men is now available, with more to come. Join us on this journey as we introduce you to content creators and shows that are here to inspire, educate, entertain, celebrate, and support men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. We can't do this without you, so please enjoy this sneak peek, but also share it with your friends and family, and help us connect with companies, organizations, brands, or nonprofits who align with our mission to save men's lives. This is the NGBN TV Sneak Peek.
Welcome to Tripping Through Transformation. I'm your host, Guillaume Poirier, and I'm inviting you on a journey that will expand your outlook on life. Join me as we delve into the realms of mental health, resilience, personal growth, community, and alternative healing. Through personal narratives and expert insights, we'll explore the transformative power of shared stories. Get ready to escape from narrow perceptions and dive into a world of diverse perspectives. Tripping Through Transformation is where stories become pathways to empowerment.
Hey everybody, listen, join me, Doug Brooks, aka known as Big Time, on the Big Time Show podcast. He's seen on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Central and on Saturday afternoons at 3 p.m. Central. You need to come on hang with me. You know what? It's gonna be crazy. Yeah. Thank you, Craig.
Welcome back, you healthy brain enthusiasts, to the MD and Chef Team show at Doctor on a Mission. Were you talking to us about chronic inflammation when I so abruptly cut you off?
No, it's time for a break. Hey, there you go. Yes.
Brian's got a great question.
Yeah.
How important is diet related to inflammation? We love that question.
Excellent
and
question.
It's coming up.
It's just about to come. Oh, Brian, man, he's up in here, isn't he? He's reading. He's up in there. What's going on? What's going on? Well, before we do that, I do want to say, so how does chronic inflammation affect our brain? Now, why do we want to avoid this? Okay, one of the things is mood disorders, emotional disorders.
Yeah.
So inflammation affects the neurotransmitters in our brain, which affects our moods, how we're thinking, how our brain is functioning properly, and can really move us into a state of overwhelm, a state of anxiety, a state of depression, a state of suicidal thoughts. So that chronic inflammation can really start to
affect the juice in your brain. Neurotransmitters, simply put, is juice.
Wait,
brain juice.
I gave the medical term and you gave the simple
I know,
term.
because I like to make sure everybody gets it.
That was kind of backwards, but that's cool. I'll go medical, you go simple.
That's
a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Another one is brain fog. Chronic inflammation can cause us to have brain fog, where we're having problems with clarity.
What did you say? No, I was making up.
You're funny. Problems with clarity, problems with decision making, problems with your wife. No, I'm just playing. But that brain fog can cause us to have some tough times when we're trying to make decisions.
Or forget anniversaries.
Yeah.
Or birthdays.
Not that I did. Don't even be thinking about that, because we're talking about some relationship tips later in the show. No, I don't do that. Definitely not. So brain fog's another one. And I have one written down here that I know is very important. Reduced neuroplasticity.
What does that mean?
Well, it can really hamper the brain's ability to adapt, grow, change, because it's neuroplastic. It moves. It doesn't stay the same.
That's right. It can grow together or it can pull apart.
Yeah.
And we want it to grow together to make those connections. Sorry.
Yeah, no, perfect.
Okay,
yeah.
You're okay with me doing this?
Yeah.
Okay. I just, I'm a picture person.
Yeah. So that chronic inflammation can affect all those. And then cognitive decline, Isabel and I know, because we work with people in preventing and reversing Alzheimer's, that also that's another area that we don't want the people to step into, but chronic inflammation can start to move people into that direction brain health wise. So now let's get
into the juice.
All right,
Brian had asked a question about nutrition. Love. Right. Brian, we love that question.
Yes. Away we go. Let's talk about one of the things we can, and you in the hearts. Let's talk about one of the things we can do is nutrition. Is it the most important? Well, I think so, because if we overlook this one, you can't out-train a bad diet. Sorry, you guys that want to exercise 7 days a week, you can't out-train a bad diet. You just got to have that nutrition component down also.
How many people do you and I see, we used to see at the gym, because we don't do the gym at the gym. We go and do the gym at home
now. Yeah.
But people used to work out, and then we'd see them with crap food, just letting you know. And they'd go, why am I not getting any better? Because you can't out-train a bad diet.
Yeah, you can try. But it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So what do we want to do? Well, we really want to be focusing on a mildly ketogenic plant-based diet. And what that means is, from a carbohydrate point of view, we're going to get our carbs from leafy greens and vegetables. A little bit of fruit, things like blueberries are cool, apples, kiwis, some what's called low GI, low glycemic index, low sugars. Yeah, exactly what we're getting into. And so the carbohydrate are coming from, as I said, greens and veggies. That's what you want to be doing there. You want to be concentrating on having good fats. And from good fats, I'm talking about extra virgin olive oil, nuts, seeds, avocado products, olives. Olives are beautiful. Those are your good fats. And we want to stay away from all the seed oils.
Which are, I'll let you know what the seed oils are, because they cause this stuff all the time, okay? Seed oils. And help me if I forget any of them.
Okay.
Okay, corn,
Mhm.
canola. Those are the 2 C's, corn and canola. Sunflower, safflower, and soybean oil. Remember those 5, okay?
Yeah.
So those are the big 5.
And
corn, is it corn?
Mhm.
Corn oil,
Yeah.
canola, sunflower, safflower, and soybean oil.
Yeah. And I know, I mean, I remember growing up on, there was a big bottle of canola oil, and my mom and dad would use that, and that's all they ever used, and just poured that in the pan to cook everything and fry everything and do that. But unfortunately, and I'm not saying this is going to happen to you just because you do that. Please don't throw that back at me. But they died at 53 and 69 from chronic inflammation. From diseases,
breast
cancer, and
obesity,
diabetes,
heart attacks,
and heart
and
attack.
diabetes. Yeah.
Yeah, all of those good things.
I wish we would have known what we
Yes.
knew, because we would have been on them like
Yeah.
a dog on a bone, saying, "Please
Right.
take control." But
And
anyway,
then protein. You want to do your best you can to have clean protein. If you can get organic, fantastic. I know that's can be a little more pricier, but if you can't do that, look for the good grass-fed. Stay away from the mass-produced type stuff.
that are grain fed.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
you see the grain fed, that's that if that you're eating what the cow's eating, right?
Yes.
And grain is high carbohydrate. You're eating that's going in, so it's not really good for
And
you.
fish. Again, we live on an island here in New Zealand. Yeah, I'd love to be eating all the fish, but even here, we know through the website of the New Zealand Fisheries website that we've got mercury in the waters here. You'd think it'd be totally pristine, but it used to be 25 to 50 years ago, but it's not anymore. So fish, what's recommended for great optimal brain health to stay away from toxicity from fish is what's called SMASH. SMASH. Salmon,
Boom.
mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring. I hear you. Like,
I don't like herring.
I don't like
I
any
like
of those.
that.
Salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring.
Why?
Because they're the smaller fish that basically they're not way up in the food chain. When a fish eats a fish, eats a fish, eats a fish, they have more of a chance to keep gaining toxicity
Like mercury
that's in the waters.
that ends up in your brain.
And there's so much pollution being dumped into the waters. I mean, you would think it'd be clean, but no matter where you are, the runoff, the thing that's happening now is not just the mercury, but the runoffs from the chemicals from the land that's going into our oceans is ridiculous. So I can tell you with our cognitive decline people, a lot of our clients, when we do some toxicity testing, what is it?
So
80-90% have high toxicity levels, and a lot of them have high mercury levels, and others.
Yeah, 80% of the people with Alzheimer's have toxicities in their brain.
So let me just show them that chart one more time. So we talked about this last week, but here's
But we're going to keep on showing
we'll
it.
keep doing it until we learn. One of the most important principles for nutrition is remember at every meal, what's my carbohydrate? Meaning, okay, where's my veggies and greens? What's my protein? Having a good, clean protein, whatever that might be. Maybe it's some eggs for you, some salmon. It could be chicken, something like that. And where's my good fats? Am I have some extra virgin olive oil on it? Am I having some avocado, some nuts, some seeds, some olives? Carbohydrate, protein, and fat at every meal so that you don't get glucose, sugar spikes throughout your system. Because long term, if your sugar spikes are going up and down because of the imbalance of what you're eating, long term chronic, because that's what we're talking about, long term chronic, you are setting yourself up for those inflammatory diseases and inflammatory fire in the brain, which is going to mess you up in your day-to-day thinking, your day-to-day moods, your day-to-day decision making, and eventually move you into possibly overwhelm, anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, and possibly even into Alzheimer's and dementia, those types.
Nutrition is so important.
Very,
you guys,
very important.
please take this seriously because it's not being taught out there. All we're being taught is fast food. It's quick. It's a quick hit of sugar, a carbohydrate, a muffin, an energy drink. You guys, that's just blood sugars up and down, up and down, up and down. And that increases this hormone called insulin, which is an inflammatory hormone. You just don't want it. You can take control. Is this easy to do? No. How do you do it? A little bit every day. And don't beat yourself up if you don't get it. Huh? Huh? What did you say?
No, just some fun.
What did you say? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm not going to take
I
your
know,
prop.
but we can't tell him that.
No, we're not going to tell. I'm not going to take his
but
prop away.
You're not going to tell him. And then another thing on the nutrition side, what you want to be looking at is that overnight fasting. We're not just talking fasting just for fasting, but intermittent fasting overnight, minimum of 12 hours. 14 is a sweet spot. Again, if you want to really get into the whole discussion about this, we did that on episode 8 last week, and go back and check that. But a minimum of 12 hours overnight or 14 hours is a really good sweet spot for most people for an overnight fast. And no eating and drinking of alcohol or caffeine 3 hours before bedtime. Why? Because we need to give the brain rest all night long. Because if the brain has to work, because the digestive system's controlled by the brain, breathing controlled by the brain, guess what? Everything's controlled by the brain. If we're eating and drinking and doing those things within 3 hours before going to bed, the brain has to work a little bit of overtime instead of resting overnight. And so give your organs a chance to rest overnight, because they can only work for a certain amount of time. We've only got a certain amount of heartbeats and organ beats until they start to be done.
And Nana just asked
overnight.
a question about
Yes.
what if you can't eat nuts because you've got irritable bowel disease? The answer to that is then don't eat the nuts. If it's going to upset you, don't do it. You'll have to use other.
Olives are fantastic.
Olives are
you can
good.
do olives, anything, avocados, fantastic.
Yeah,
great
more
fat.
avocados.
Yeah. Pour some extra virgin olive oil over your veggies as much as you want. It's beautiful. Just get your fats in those ways. You can have some butter or what's called ghee, which is clarified butter, but butter's good too. Please don't ever use the fake buttery stuff out there.
Or margarine. Don't use margarine. That's not good.
That's
either.
what I meant. Yeah, that stuff.
Well, we can say margarine.
Margarine, or there's all these other, there's even like fake olive oil spreads or something. I've seen all that stuff. It's basically chemicals out of a lab.
Yeah.
And that's not good. So I'm loving this discussion.
Me too.
I think it's time for a short break. Hey, we'd love to have you join us in the Healthy Brain Club at Doctoronamission.com, because we know we can serve you well in there. That's a coaching program where you can come and join us. We'll be right back after this break.
You're watching the exclusive sneak peek of NGBN TV. Like never before, streaming content for men is now available, with more to come. Join us on this journey as we introduce you to content creators and shows that are here to inspire, educate, entertain, celebrate, and support men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. We can't do this without you, so please enjoy this sneak peek, but also share it with your friends and family, and help us connect with companies, organizations, brands, or nonprofits who align with our mission to save men's lives. This is the NGBN TV Sneak Peek.
What's up? My name is Chris Rubio, and I'm the host of The Rubio Method on the NGBN TV network.
Focus. Focus up. Long standing and life are very, very similar.
We have a great show that's going to educate you, inspire you, and most importantly, entertain you. I say most importantly because that's what I really want to do. And we're just kind of going on this journey together. And I'm going to make sure as we go on this journey together, you're going to have a good time while doing it. So check out The Rubio Method on NGBN TV.
Hey, everybody, listen, join me, Doug Brooks, a.k.a. known as Big Time, on the Big Time Show podcast. He's seen on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Central and on Saturday afternoons at 3 p.m. Central. You need to come on, hang with me. You know what? It's going to be crazy. Yeah. Thank you, Brad.
Hey, I know those guys.
Yeah, we did too. I
And
did
welcome
too.
back,
And
right?
oh yeah, welcome back. I hope you got a healthy brain snack while you were away, because I was watching you.
Yeah.
Yes, I was.
What did you snack on? Some nuts, some seeds, some olives. Oh, you had a little bit of avocado with some tomato and spinach.
Ooh, that
very
sounds
nice.
good.
Wow, some really nice. Oh, that sounds really good.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
guess
you had
what?
Some...
Hey, let me finish.
I was just putting out some healthy snacks.
So it's time to buckle in and continue on with the MD and Chef Team show. Let's go.
Yay. All righty. So today we're talking about chronic inflammation, fire, and how to extinguish it.
Right.
Because we don't want that burning long term. So we want to extinguish it. One of the ways we talked about is nutrition. So very, very, very important. We cannot overlook that. As we said, we can't outtrain a bad diet. So, but number 2 is exercise. We need to get moving. We need to get our body moving. We need to get oxygen to the brain. We need to get the heart pumping and get the oxygen flowing, get the red blood cells going. We've got to get oxygen going to the brain to really open things up, and through exercise. Now, if you're thinking, I don't really do any exercise. Well, if you can walk a minimum of 30 minutes a day, just get out and do a brisk walk, walk like you're late for an appointment. Just get out there walking for 30 minutes minimum a day, 7 days a week, just every day, some kind of a walk. At least that gets you going.
Make sure you tell them over there in that part of the audience.
Oh, I'll talk
Tell
to them
that
too.
part of the we got to talk to everybody.
All right, we need to talk to the guys over
Yeah,
there.
talk to
too.
these people over
let's
here.
talk to them too.
We're talking to you.
I'm talking to you right now. That's good. Good. Thank you for reminding
I will remind you.
Thank you for reminding
Yes, because
me.
our producer has reminded us.
So get out for at least a minimum 30 minutes a day. Hey, if you can do a 60-minute walk a day, and if you're a person that runs, jogs, fantastic. Just get the body moving. But then if you really want to step it up and say, yeah, but I want to optimize, I want to get it the best I can, then there's a couple other things you want to look at. You also want to look at resistance training. You want to look at being your best with resistance. And resistance is whether, it could just be body weight resistance or resistance with weights at the gym, at home. We do it ourselves at home with free weights. But you want to get some resistance training going. And a particular one I just want to mention today, because this is usually highly overlooked. But what we have learned through our training with reversing and preventing Alzheimer's is that leg strength, particularly our quads, which is the biggest muscle group in the body, the quadriceps. What's been found with the research is strong quadriceps, strong muscle strength directly correlates to strong brain strength, meaning people have good brain strength that have good, strong leg strength. So we want to work on our legs too. And guys, if you're out there just working upper body, fantastic, but do not overlook your legs, because a lot of your brain health will come from your leg strength. And that's the research. It's there, it's out there. And so one of the things we recommend for people to do every day is
sit down, hold on, strap in, because he's going to tell you something you don't want to do, but it's going to be good for you.
You scared me for a moment. What's going on?
No,
Is that an earthquake? What's
because
happening?
you're going to tell them something that they don't want to do. I don't even want to do, but we do it anyway.
But maybe they're already doing. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe they
who
are
knows?
doing. Yeah, that's right.
Squats. You want to be looking to work yourself up to 100 squats a day, leg squats. And that can be just body weight squats. But if you look at 5 times a week, 100 squats a day, and strengthening those quads, those legs, that will actually help with your brain health. We know that. And, if it's lunges, squats, just getting those deep bends into the legs. And like I said, if you want to use weights, but we know through the research that to have good optimal brain health, work on your leg strength with your resistance also. Do not overlook that. Very, very important. Did you want to add anything in on that?
No, it hurts, but it's worth it. And it looks really good after a while. After a while, you're like, wow, I didn't know I had that sartorius muscle there. Wow, I didn't know that I had a quad muscle. Wow, look at the definition. So just to let you know, casting vision, you actually start seeing definition.
And I do want to say, why am I smiling so much? Because this 63-year young woman.
64, but.
That's right. You just turned 64. I'm 66.
That was very nice of you.
64-year young woman. Yeah, leg definition right there.
Yeah, baby.
Turn it
Till
up.
100 years. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Hey, and another.
But I just want to say, I don't want to do them, just so you know. Yeah. But I do it because I know where we're going.
Well, I don't want to exercise, but I want the results.
And that brings us to the next little tidbit side is a vision board. Always, always, always. I'm speaking to everybody. I'm speaking to you over here. Over here, I'm talking to this group of people over here.
Talking to you folks over here.
Always have a vision in your mind of where you're going. Have a vision board. Ours is like, what is it? 4 feet by 5 feet tall.
It's huge.
It's full.
Whatever, the biggest thing you can find, you find.
But have a vision board. And for me, I got quads in there. I've got a gym.
I have your quads in there.
No, those are the quads that I'm going to get, sooner or later. Have a vision of what you want, because that's where your brain goes. If you've got a vision of, being unhealthy, well, then that's where you'll be. But you don't have to be there. Have a vision board. I'm really into vision. Am I into vision boards?
Yes, but they're important. They're so important.
Yeah. You know how much into vision board I am today? I do 10 minutes on the rebounder and I'm looking at our vision board. Like, this is who we are in 2024. And quads is part of it. Just letting you know, okay? Yeah. So we spoke to that side of the room.
Yeah.
Now you back to this side.
You got to work the room. Good job.
We're working the room.
But yeah, because so normally we don't think about leg strength with brain health. But the research is out there. We know, as downstream with Alzheimer's dementia, that people usually don't have very good leg strength. The other thing with leg strength is, I'm sure everybody knows somebody out there who's elderly or mature age, shall I say, that has fallen.
Yeah.
Broke their hip, broke a leg, hurt their back, knocked their head, knocked themselves out, and then all of a sudden they go to the hospital. Then they've got to have some surgeries done, and it kind of goes downhill from there. So the other thing with leg strength is, as we age, we need that stability. You should be able to, Isabel and I do this at the front door when we're about to head out the door. You should be able to put your shoes on, not tight, of course, but put your shoes on standing up, like be on one leg, put your shoe on the other foot while you're standing there, flop over, put your other shoe on. You should be able to balance being able to do that. If not, then keep working on that leg strength, because you want to have that good balance in your legs so that you don't get to a point of life where I'm very unstable, tripping, falling, and all that can happen. So
not on our shifts, okay?
Not allowed.
No broken bones on our shift.
No.
Wow, it's 40 minutes already.
Yeah. Just about 40 minutes.
No, it is.
Well, okay. I think it's time for today's big take home.
Yay! The big.
Boom, there we are. So for today's big take home, it's the mixing bowl. Well,
the mixing bowl. Do.
So what's the mixing bowl all about? Well, a lot of times when we're on here, and we know with working with clients, as we talked about some nutrition principles, we talked about exercise. There's a lot of areas we want to tap into. If you're actually looking at sleep, you can go back to episodes 4 and 5 of the MD and Chef Team show of this season.
Good memory, Bab.
Yeah, where we did 2 shows on sleep. So it's all there. But what we find a lot of times is, and we know with us human beings, if we go to try and make a bunch of changes at one time, even if it's just in that nutritional pillar, and we say, okay, I'm changing this, I'm changing that, I'm not going to do this, I'm not. It sounds good at the beginning, but within weeks, we'll just go, oh, this is too hard, and it's all over, and we're done. So.
And you give up on yourself.
It happens very easily.
Yeah,
So here's my big take home for today.
This is a great picture for your vision board.
If you're picking up on some tips from the MD and Chef Team show from us here, even over the last bunch of episodes today, what I suggest for you to do is think about this. Just imagine this just had flour in it. It was just an empty bowl with some flour in it. And that was where you're currently at with your lifestyle and what you presently do for your optimal brain health. And then think, you know what? I've just picked up a new tip. I'm going to incorporate that carbohydrate, protein, and fat at every meal. Great. That could be like cracking an egg in there. I've added one ingredient into my daily lifestyle. And I'm going to mix that in. I'm just going to mix that every day. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to mix it. Am I still where I want to go? It's still kind of a little bit messy. But then, now I've got that into what I'm doing. And then maybe exercise. There's some new things you want to be doing. And within the next few weeks, you start doing some different things. You start working on the squats. Maybe you've never done them. And you start off doing 10 a day or 12 a day or 50 a day, wherever you're at. And you're working on that leg strength. And that might be adding some milk into the mix. And so now you're giving that a stir. You're doing those habits. You're just working those new habits, but we still got to mix and we still get kind of a mess. But as time goes on, every time you add in a new habit, there's some sleep habits in episodes 4 and 5 where, okay, I'm catching on. You mix those in. It might be, maybe you're making a carrot cake and there's some grated carrot that just went in. And you mix that, and then maybe it's a pinch of cinnamon, a new habit, or a pinch of nutmeg, it's a new habit. And you just keep stirring, and there's some baking soda you stirred in there, and some other flavorings and vanilla, and you just keep stirring, and eventually what comes together is this beautiful mix. It's you, your brain health, you being your best that comes together, and when it's placed under fire, under the pressures of life, which are going to come anyway. It's like putting this mix into the oven, and all of a sudden you've got this beautiful cake. Well, by you just continuing to stir, add a new tip, eventually you and your optimal brain health is going to be this beautiful you, the best you can view.
You're fireproof.
And it'll come together. It'll be you being your best.
Yeah,
so just
good job.
Be gentle with yourself. Keep adding a little something. Keep stirring. I've got that. Now I'm going to add a little something else on, and you keep layering it, and you will get to where you want to be. Well, there you go. Hopefully that helped you with today's big take home, the mixing bowl. We're going to take a short break now. And we want to let you know, if you want to learn more about us, you can go to doctoronamission.com. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, I'm Micah McCreary.
And I'm Rich Fry. Welcome to TrueX Outdoors,
the ultimate outdoor show.
So come tag along with us as we experience thrilling adventures in hunting and fishing.
From the mountains to the rivers, we'll bring you the most action-packed outdoor experiences.
Watch us now on NGBN TV.
TrueX Outdoors.
You're watching the exclusive sneak peek of NGBN TV. Like never before, streaming content for men is now available, with more to come. Join us on this journey as we introduce you to content creators and shows that are here to inspire, educate, entertain, celebrate, and support men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. We can't do this without you, so please enjoy this sneak peek, but also share it with your friends and family, and help us connect with companies, organizations, brands, or nonprofits who align with our mission to save men's lives. This is the NGBN TV Sneak Peek. Hey NGBN, it's Brian Jodas with Pick Up the Six Productions. Join us here at Pick Up the Six as we introduce you to the men and women among us who go above and beyond through service, purpose, and impact. Whether it's travel in the United States or right here from our studios, we can't wait to pick up the six with you.
You know that spot that you just saw, that commercial? That could actually be you. You know, if you're in your car or if you're at home and you're thinking, I've got a business, I've got a brand, I've got a product that I want to share and let the world know about, and you want to do it here on the NGBN TV network, it can be on demand or it can be however you want to do it. We've got spaces available for sponsorship at such affordable rates. And if you're interested, just send us a message at info@doctoronamission.com. Perfect. Thanks, Jenna. Just send us a message saying, hey, I'm interested in finding out about the sponsorship rates. Because you know what? Your message, your product, your brand, your organization will be shown to thousands, even millions of people around the world. And you know what? Come and join us. We are a united front here of like-minded people to help combat mental illness and suicide in men, our men that we want to keep alive to help lead us, lead the families, lead organizations, lead the world. We need our men in tip-top form. Join us and send us a message at info@doctoronamission.com. Thanks. Now we get to talk about love.
So this last segment, we like to talk about relationships. And today, our relationships is tips for remaining in love. Yes.
Oh, I love those glasses.
Yes. Oh, excuse me. Tips for remaining in love.
The kids are watching.
Oh, yeah, the kids are watching.
The kids are watching.
Yeah, that's funny. We used to have to do that when they were here.
Not anymore. Now they're like, oh, come on, you guys, stop that.
So have we learned a few things in 43 years of being together?
Mm-hmm.
One or two?
Yeah.
Did you have any ones you wanted to start off with?
No, I'm going to let you roll with the show on this one.
Oh, okay. Well,
and I'll jump in as you know.
I think one of the most important things is, and Isabel and I always talk to each other about this, and this is probably one of the number one reasons why at the age of 50, I started to realize that my health had gone down the tube. I was in chronic inflammation for about 20 years, and I was setting myself up for a lot of bad events, is we want to stay what's called sexy for each other. We want to stay looking good for each other. We want to stay attractive for each other. You know, and yes, we know what our ages are now. I mean, we're not the same as when we were 25. We're actually more wiser and have more wisdom. But we want to be looking good for each other. And at 50, I could see the look in my wife's eyes like, oh my gosh, this guy.
No, it's just because, you were
worried for me.
Because I knew where you were going.
You were worried for me, but also... Yeah, I wasn't quite being as attractive as I should be anymore. And that doesn't say you didn't love me, but there is, with love, I think it's very important for us to care enough about ourselves that we remain attractive to our partner, our husband, our wife,
Because you have to look at me all the time.
Yeah.
Like I always think, I know you're not, you love me, whether I'm on appeal. I mean, I know what you guys are thinking. I know people are thinking, I have to work out and all that stuff. She should just love me the way I am. Well, guess what, buddy? Remember how you looked when you both fell in love. Remember that? Well, that's what she fell in love with. Okay. And
actually, I've cleaned up since.
No, but you were hot when I. No, but you were hot when we first. You and I were pretty hot.
Yeah.
I mean, we are now.
We're going down. You're taking me off track.
But you know, complacency kicks in, and people are like, "Oh, you should just." You don't want to end up being roommates, okay?
Yeah,
that's what Michael is.
Very important point there.
I mean, we are roommates, but we're more than roommates.
Yeah, and I know one thing we talk about is not just when we're going out together looking good. I mean, guys, you got to understand when you're going out, of course you want to look good for your girl. I mean, you want her to be proud of you. Like, hey, this is my man. Look, check him out, but he's mine.
Yeah, that's what I say. I go, oh, he's mine.
Yeah, and
he's my hunka bunka.
And I'm the same with Isabel. I mean, I sometimes, let's say after church on a Sunday, I mean, we look good, and I'll say, oh, let's go do brunch together or something because I want to go show you off, and I mean that in a great way. That I'm proud of you and who you are.
The
and
squats.
Who you become.
It's the squats, right?
It's the squats.
It's the squats, baby.
And even just around the house, yes, there's certain days, hey, we are off, and it's okay for the sweats and the t-shirt and the whole thing. But on a normal basis, because we work at home together, we want to look good. We don't want to, we shower and clean up and shave, and I don't want to just look like a bum around my girl because I want her, feeling good about me.
Yeah.
And I just think that's important for those staying in love is being presentable for each other, guys.
And also emotionally presentable. Positive with words, because you really do have a great love language. Like you speak kindly. You don't like, you hag, what are you looking like? No, he doesn't talk to me like that. He's very gentle and loving. And so sexy can also be what comes out of your mouth, men, just to let you know.
Yeah. And what's it called when you groom guys, and be groomed, be groomed for your girl.
Brush your teeth.
Take
a shower.
Don't let, trees growing out of your ears and your nose, I mean, clean yourself up so that you're presentable, because I know as I've aged beyond 60, I've had to make sure that I groom myself. Otherwise it's just like, well, hair seems to come from everywhere.
Yeah.
And I want to look good for my girl, and be attractive for that. So that's some tips for remaining in love. I think that's one of the ones is be presentable for each other, be attractive. And attractive is also in a good character way. Smile, embrace, hug, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. And don't let junk come out of your mouth because the other person, your wife, hears you.
Yeah. And here's one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's sexy is emotionally and physically.
Yes.
It really
emotionally,
is.
Yeah.
Emotionally sexy, like kind and gentle and encouraging. Like when I'm having a crap day, you're like, babe, give yourself a break. Like you show me how to be. You love on me when I'm like having a yuck day.
Thank you. Thanks. And that's learned. I didn't
we've learned all of this, and we keep on reading books. Can you imagine us reading books?
Yeah.
Just so you know, reading books are good for you, okay?
And I wrote down support, listening, and engaging, because sometimes it's just a matter, because Isabel works as a medical doctor in a urgent care center, and I can tell you the stuff and the junk she sees, you can't even imagine. I mean, you would think you would know the junk that goes on out there, but you can't imagine it.
It's ugly out there.
It's just some nasty stuff. And there's times where I just need to listen. I don't need to be coming, like, oh, we'll try this and do that. She just needs to unload. And sometimes, guys, you just need to be an amazing listener. Well, we always need to be, but sometimes it's just shut your mouth and listen. And then be engaged, though, when you're listening. Don't just be listening and be like, yeah, okay.
Or on your phone. Like Michael is like, when he talks to me, when he's listening, he's looking at me. He's not on his phone or cooking.
Yeah,
it's like you're focused.
When you're actually having a conversation, be engaged. I mean, that's a way of showing love. That, okay, I care. You're having a conversation with me about something, and I'm actually engaged with you on it because I care. And you want to be doing that. Yeah. So engage, support, listening. I had a couple others written down. We'll see how we go on time. How are we doing on time? We got a few more minutes.
A few seconds.
Oh, a few seconds. Well,
because it's going to be Cuban music time.
Our beautiful producer, Jenna, will start the Cuban music when she knows that we're coming down to the close time. But I've got one more. And this could be controversial, so I want to get this one out there quickly. Right now, there's so many busy couples out there. Busy, whether you got kids, whether you're entrepreneurs. Isabel and I are always rushing around. And one of the things for intimacy, and whatever word you want to use for that, but you know what I'm talking about, intimacy, is sometimes you got to schedule it. We all want to be spontaneous. Yes, fantastic. Let's all be spontaneous. That sounds fantastic. But we can't always just be spontaneous if we're on the go. Sometimes we have to schedule it. And Isabel and I know that we have to schedule our intimacy time just because we're on. And if we don't, oh my gosh, the whole week's gone and we didn't come coupling, shall I say.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Let's do some coupling back.
Is it Cuban music time?
Is it Cuban music time, Jenna? Is Jenna in the house? Oh, Jenna.
I think it might be.
It's Cuban music time. Here it comes. That's our cue to remind you. Thank you for joining us today. We thank you so much. It's from our hearts. We are so happy you're here. And please remember that you were born to be a blessing in this world. Always remember that. And whatever you're chasing, remain unstoppable.
Peace out.